more. Let's see, this.
To use the binomial one? Is that what you're
Yeah, I gave you the dist fill with a binomial option. Yes, you'd have to know the probability of success. That's the whole question is what is it 50% or is it something else? In order to use the binomial, you have to know what the probability is. So I have to tell you, use 50% versus, I don't know what it is. So that's exactly right, Allie. Why is this not coming on? Oh wait, auto-tune, right. Thank you for your patience with this, friends. Let me just go old school. Let's just use this thing.
There's an emulator on mine.
There is, and that's what I was downloading. But I've already got this thing sitting in front of me, so I'll just use this. Perfect. And then I use the thing it's taped to. There we go. Let's do this. Whoops. Alrighty. Do you guys see it okay? Over here.
You're gonna need to lift the screen.
Lift the screen. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's decent though. You see that now? Okay, good. So let's get the data in just like they did before. Ba-boom, ba-boom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then our frequencies over here. Cool. Not quite focused yet. Ugh. Want to do a histogram? So we can get a visual? Because, I mean, we could do it manually again like we did over here. I'm not even looking at the camera's pointing to the wrong place. There we go. Let's do a histogram to get a visual as well. Because eventually the built-ins that TI has will have a histogram come up with the data automatically. But for right now, we have to kind of make it from scratch. So, remember how to do that? Of course, you could say no. Yeah, we'll do it on the calculator rather than manual. We can do it on Excel too, and you'll see how to do that on the quiz next week. Second y equals. Yep, second, and then right above it is y equals. Yep, beautiful. Let's grab plot 1. Go ahead and turn it on. It says we have to draw a histogram, which is this guy right here. Now the way to do that is you press down, and then you have to arrow over until you're blinking on top of that histogram. Arrow, arrow, and then press enter. And then it'll highlight that, and then you know you're in the right place. And then the stuff at the bottom probably changes, because then it asks you where all your stuff is. Now mine defaulted to xlist L1 freak 1. Did anyone else do that as well? Yeah, I think that's the default setting. We don't want that, do we? We want xlist to be L1, freak to be L2. Because that's where our frequencies are. We don't want to assume the frequency is 1, because that means we got 1, each of these would be 1, which they're not. There's obviously more in the middle than on the end. We want to make sure the TI knows that. So then we press L2. I think we're set up now. There's one thing I like to make sure you guys check before you graph though, because this does create some agita for students. You want to make sure you don't have anything else turned on. So as a real quick check before you go to graph it, press your y equals button. And go into your grapher right now. I don't know why the hell I have negative sine 3x plus 2 pi in there. I think somebody borrowed my TI over the summer for 112 or something and forgot to clear it out. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's a phase shifted sine curve. Beautiful, gorgeous, nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. So just go ahead and press clear. Oh, yeah, it's a damn bug. Just quit and then y equals. Yeah, it's the freaking bug. Hang on, Cesar Lopez is the contact I have with TI. I know the guy by name. I email him at least a dozen times a year. Hey Cesar, still a bug in the stat. Oh, we're working on it. We're a little faster. And the thing is, because they're not auto-updated like an iPhone, you have to then install the OS like you did in 1984. So anyway, this is good. Plot 1 is highlighted, which it should be. Nothing else is in here.
So if it's not
Yes.
highlighted, make sure it is highlighted.
Yeah, if it's not highlighted at this point, press enter to make it highlighted, yes. Because now you only have one thing on. You have the graph on, nothing else is on, we're ready to go. Now what I like to do is press zoom 9 right now. That's called zoom stat or zoom data, depending on your model. zoom, which is the button in the middle of the top row, and then 9. Ha! And what you'll do is you'll get a histogram that the TI has determined is the best to fit your window. I determined it could be made better, but at least I start here, and then we start, you gave me 243, you've heard me use the word, it's either tweak or finagle or something. I've used the phrase with you guys back in the day. Futz with it. Let's make it better, because I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars there, and 2 0 bars over there, right? There's 2 places there are bars missing. There are 11 categories here. I'd like to see 11 bars and or categories. So where do we go to mess with that? Window is the easiest place. This gives you perfect control over your data. If you press window, you can see the problem right away. The X-min at 0, I'm totally stoked about. I love that. I want it to be at 0, because 0 is our X-min. Logic says your X-max should therefore be at what?
10.
Logic says 10. Where does it actually have to be? 11. Do you remember why it has to be at 11 in order to see 10? Do you remember the reasoning? Or you remember that it has to be at 11? That's good. Do you remember why?
So you include 10.
Because the 10 bar starts at 10 and goes 1 to the right.
Yeah.
So that's why you include 10. You won't see it if you don't put 11 on there, because the 10 bar actually goes over to the right. It doesn't graph it like I did up here on my histogram, where you put the number in the middle of the bar. It puts it on the left side of the bar. So you have to give it the space to the right, which is why going to 11 lets you see 10. Going to 11, yes. What's that, man? All right. X scale. Here's another thing we can fix. What should the X scale be? 1. You want each bar to be 1 wide, not 1 2/3. Silly number, silly number. As far as the Y min and the Y max, you can change these if you want. I think we should actually. Now Y is actually F, correct? It's the other column. Our max was 5. It's stuck at 10, which makes perfect sense because it had to have more in the bars. I say we knock it down to 6. That way it fills the screen more, but doesn't top out on the screen. And if you want, you could make that -2 what?
0.
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't make that 0. The scale 0.1, that's really not important at all. If you make it 0.1, it's going to have lots of little dots on the. If you make it 1, you'll have fewer dots on the y-axis. I'm sorry, I'm hitting you with Math 111, Math 95, and Math 243 right now. That's a lot of hitting. So, what a little TI trickery. We'll be bringing back some acid reflux in those days. Now just press graph. Now just press the graph button, and you'll get your gorgeous histogram. La la la. Aha! Aha. That's quite nice. What do you see? Error? Oh my God, Tyler, let's fix that. Goodness, we don't want an error. I want you to see beautiful data. Check number of data points. Wait. Okay, there's that. All right, this is 11, right? Yeah. That's 1. I know you did all this. But yeah, what's this delta x? Delta. There it is. I don't know what the hell happened, brother. I wish I could tell you. Okay, so what do we see? Besides error, now we got the error taken care of. What do we see?
9 bars.
Bell curve.
9 bars, which we should, yeah. We should, Elizabeth, because we had 9 data points. We actually see 11 categories. There are 2 zeros. That's those last 2 over there. Bell curve. Yeah, it's arguably bell. We could test it to see if it's bell-ish enough using skew and things like that. But you can kind of see the bell, yeah? You can see. I'm going to throw some numbers on here, although we can't do this on the TI proper. This is where the Excel spreadsheets come in handy. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So, assuming it's 50-50. This is an assumption. This is by no means a conclusion based on this data. Assuming it's 50-50, what's the average of our distribution? What should the average of our distribution be? We vote for 5? It'd be 5 in this case, wouldn't it? Because we got to 10, and there's actually 11 bars, so it's the 6th bar in, which is 5. Yeah. So everybody vote for 5? Half of your spin should have been heads. So it should be 5 out of the 10. So the high point of the bell should be at 5. Actually, it should be up here. And then assuming it's a bell curve, which again, the CLT guarantees us that bell curve, it should look something, and I don't know what the standard error would be for this one, I can't calculate it in my head, but we're going to assume it's going to look something like this. Something along those lines. Ish. It might be tighter, it might be wider. We could actually calculate it binomially, but I don't judging by your looks and your glazed look right now. Do that. How well does that assumed bell curve fit our sample data? Let me hear some ideas now. What do you think? I like that.
That's
Remember,
great.
remember what I said? The three words I use when I think of Math 244 is metric your gut. So, is your gut your gut and your brain having a vote, right? Let's metric it. Go ahead, Sean. Keep going.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, sorry, that was Aaron with a mouthful of water. Aaron, I thought you were gonna say something too. No, I thought.
It's kind of skewed.
So,
Dropped off on that side.
3 votes, 3 very different votes. Yeah, which makes me think like, I can live with it. I can not live with it. Looks great. Kind of skewed. See that? 3 different votes. Essentially 3 different votes. I love that. That couldn't have, you couldn't, thank you, all 3 of you. You couldn't have said that any better because that's the confusion with statistics. How do you assign a value to that to say how well it fits that bell curve, right? And we kind of skirted this idea in 243 by saying it fits it good because it's ish close or it's skewed. And we accepted all those answers in 243 because we weren't being inferential then. We were learning those terms like skew and bell and normal and fitting and not fitting and outside and outliers. We learned all those terms. We're gonna refine that now. Okay, my vote is, well, here's my gut feeling. First of all, I was very surprised when Kelly said she got no hits. That has never happened in the, I think, 13 years I've run this experiment. There's usually always a 0 there. This is the only time I've ever gotten 1. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. But then I flushed it out because it's an outlier. They happen. They're gonna happen eventually, right? That's what happened today. Congratulations. Then we get this little micro spike here, which again could be noise. Could very well be noise. Could be some variable I'm not planning for, as Sean brought up before, very, very good. But then I start seeing these bars that are kind of high. Now again, I drew this bell curve-ish. It could be far too narrow. It should be blown out more maybe. But even if it blows out more, let's use a different color. Even if I was to blow it out more, make it more like this. What I'm about to say still holds. And it seems like there's a little more weight. No, that's awful. It seems like there's a little more weight on the left side than the right side in the sample versus the bell that I've drawn. Assuming that the bell is centered where? At 5, at the mean, at mu. 3 beautifully different and yet all same thing answers, yeah. So that's what I kind of want to test today. We're not going to finish it today. I want to kind of develop a tool for saying, okay, is that just my gut because I had breakfast 6 hours ago? Or is there something going on when you spin a penny that makes it different than 0.5? Remember the kid in the stop sign, right? The kid in the stop sign, right? The kid in the stop sign. I never run a stop sign. Is this just goofy this one time? Or is there something underlying it that will make it different every time if we sample again and again? That's the fun, yeah? Well, I think it's the fun. Hopefully you will find the utility of it at least at some point as we go through. Ask me that question, Sean. Go.
No, I'm fine.
You sure?
Are you even contemplating?
I did. I saw you sit back. You always sit back. I've noticed that after watching you last year. You always sit back and you go like this. I'm like, there it is, it's coming. And I don't know if I should say something because I don't want to interrupt it. But then I'm me, so that I say something. So what I want to get into, just for starters, and we're going to get very, very teeny tiny bit today. What we're going to do today is we're going to start Math 244. Spin this over here. With this topic.